I know last time I said it was going to be a while since you saw us again, but here we are, guys. It's Super Bowl week, and we got a pre-free agency offseason plan for each and every team except for, well, the Colts. And the reason is because, one, Derek's not here, but we know the plan isn't going to matter because the Colts will screw it up anyways. That franchise has been abysmal, so Derek couldn't even be here to represent it. It is what it is. But the Titans, ladies and gentlemen, they are looking up. They are looking towards the future. They got Robert Saleh at head coach. And as we know, the Texans and the Jaguars are competing for the top of the division. So let me bring in the fellas. We got Michael, we got Dalton, and we got Ruben. Fellas, so good to see you. I thought it'd be a lot longer between shows. It was only a 1 week off, and here we are. Michael, I'll start with you, brother. How you been, man?
I'm a lot better than Giants fans are feeling right now today. So, have fun with Matt Nagy.
At least he's not their head coach, right? I mean, it could be worse. He could have been your head coach, potentially.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda, though.
Dalton, how you been, brother?
Yeah, all is good, man. I mean, I'm looking forward to a 20-minute show without Derek's rants going on here. So, yeah, it should be a nice, quick highlight of a show here.
Yeah. This is like ESPN. Da-da-da. We're just showing the highlights and we're in and out. Ruben, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm still in mourning. I'm not gonna lie. I thought I was gonna be over by this loss, and now it's still hitting me in the face every single time I look up and see that Drake May got to the Super Bowl with 86 passing yards. Sick to my stomach, but nonetheless, we're here, excited for Bad Bunny, but we're in the off season, boys.
Brother, it's been like 3 weeks. I didn't know that you were still mourning this loss. I
try not to. I try not to. And if you guys have seen Blue Mountain State, Thad Castle was telling Alex Moran, he's like, when you're losing, the alcohol doesn't taste the same, sex loses its squishiness, and that's all true. I don't want to watch, I don't want to watch highlights anymore. I haven't touched Madden since that game. Like I can't even stand to look at this dude right behind me, right? It's just a slap in the face every single time I see the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl, and it's just I don't know if I'm good over
Ruben. I have a confession to make. Do you want to know the team that I use when I play Madden?
Is it the Texans?
The Ravens.
It's the Texans, bro. I play with the Texans, and oh, dude.
Y'all want to know what's funny? I was doing freaking
you borrowed 2023 Stroud as well.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I was doing I was playing Madden. I was doing franchise, and I was not a Houston Texan, right? Well, I ended up going up against them. I take the loss. I'm like, I can't do it. But since then, bro, it's just been, just football has not been the same since then, since that loss.
This is the elephant in the room. Dalton, did you get a haircut, sir? Or
I did.
My
hair is gone. Yeah,
sexy.
My hair is gone.
Can we see without the hat? Can we? Are we? I know you got hat hair. We just want to see.
Yeah, definitely
how short
hat
it is
hair going on here.
Look at this, dude. Looking good.
This. Yeah, this is off-season mode. I told them, hey, turn me from a stoner to a CPA, and they gave me this cut. So. Yeah, that's
question for you. Are you one of those guys that does like the one haircut a year and then you just grow it out? And by the I've got some friends like that. They get long hair by the end of the year, then they cut it, and then that's their one haircut for the year. Is that what you're gonna do, or are you gonna maintain this?
No, I mean the reason why I grew out my hair was because my barber moved back to Puerto Rico, so I just stopped getting haircuts. But now
that is so freaking real. That is the realest shit.
Yeah, I'm like, I gotta find a new barber. Like this guy, I literally got my haircuts like in his garage, like in my neighborhood. I'm like, this is awesome, baby. And now I gotta go to a place and make an appointment and be sitting there, and like the guy's 20 minutes late because he's cutting the guy's hair before, and he's having these conversations. I'm like, yo, like, get me out of here, bro. Look at that. You got the fresh fade.
I got a fade too. Me, Dalton, and CJ Stroud got some fades.
Yeah, I know. I saw CJ Stroud got himself a haircut. I saw that.
Bro, he doesn't have the dreads anymore?
He cut off the dreads. He looks like he did when he was back in high school.
He's trying not to be recognized right now. Is what's going
on. Bro, what was crazy was that Tank Dell and Will Anderson Jr. were at the Rockets game not too long ago. And what was weird is normally when you see Tank Dell, you see CJ Stroud. And when you see CJ, you see Tank. But nah, CJ's gone back to Rancho Cucamonga with Day Day.
Ooh, man.
Got fired on his day off. That's crazy. That's crazy. Well, listen, we're here to talk about how the Texans can set up themselves for success as they head into free agency, along with the rest of the division. But Mike, I'm going to start with you, just because the Titans have had the most movement. And I know last time we talked, I want to say you guys had just hired Robert Saleh, or the announcement was made, but the contract wasn't official. It was right around that time. It's been a couple weeks. So you guys have yourself a head coach. You guys have yourself a defensive coordinator, although it's pretty irrelevant because Saul is going to call the plays. But the staff is starting to fill out. So why don't you talk to me first of all about the coaching staff, what you like about it, maybe what some of the question marks are about it, and then we can get into the whole plan leading into free agency, some players you guys can look to maybe extend or cut, re-sign, what have you. Just give me the picture of what it's like to be a Titan fan.
Well, I mean, it's been a really interesting last couple of weeks, just the way this has played out. I mean, you've got Robert Saleh that was officially announced, I think it was Thursday in the press conference. And, fast and violent was basically the selling point. This guy's wanting to go in there, get the culture on its feet, basically get these guys excited to play again. And everybody bought in. And I mean, you had Jeffrey Simmons and Cam Ward sitting in on a press conference. Everybody's excited to have just some energy in the building, some electricity. And this is going to be really just one of those fun off seasons where we just see how everything progresses going forward. Looking at the coaching staff, I mean, it's pretty cut and dry. I mean, their biggest get was Brian Dable, of course. You wanted to get Cam Ward, somebody that was going to utilize his talent and his skill set. This is definitely the guy that's going to do it. We'll see how long he'll stay there. I obviously feel it's going to be potentially about a 2-year stop for Brian Dable. So I think they'll have some time to work with Cam and get him comfortable in this offense going forward. Of course, you said Gus Bradley hired as the defensive coordinator yesterday. I think it's going to be just his job to basically coach these guys up. He's not going to be doing any kind of play calling going forward. It's really just him just basically showing what Robert Saleh wants to utilize on his defensive scheme. So Gus Bradley, a very trusted friend and very big mentor part of Robert Saleh's life. So easy get there. And of course, you keep Bones Fossil at special teams, which was absolute no-brainer. But the Titans have been moving quick to fill this staff up. They've already gotten their offensive staff filled up, especially with a lot of carryovers from the Giants staff from 2025. Then you look at the defensive staff. It's getting ready to fill out with a lot of guys that Saleh had in the New York Jets. And of course, they're potentially looking at adding a couple other guys from the San Francisco 49ers. So they're staying busy and they're spending money, and Tennessee's not playing around. They want to get busy and get to work when 2026 rolls around.
Dude, yeah, that Brian Daboll hire, I think, was a really, really good one. I mean, say what you want about Daboll as a head coach, but as an offensive coordinator, man, he definitely knows exactly what he's doing. And I think this is good for Cam Ward. To your point, probably going to get about 2 years out of him, maybe more. So we'll see. So that's huge. That's huge for a young quarterback. He needs some stability there. There's nothing worse than losing your head coach and coordinator in year one, and then you're kind of doing this back and forth. We saw it with Caleb Williams, and we saw the growth in year two. Very curious to see. And I think what's good here too, Mike, when I really look at it, Brian Daboll has not only aided in the bring up of Josh Allen, but he just did it with Jackson Dart. So he's worked with young quarterbacks multiple times throughout his career. It's not just calling plays, but how do you get the best out of a young player? How do you develop a young player? He's had to go through it a couple times. So you got to feel pretty good about him as your offensive coordinator working with Cam Ward, yeah?
I mean, this was definitely a home run hire. You wanted Cam Ward to feel comfortable heading into year two. You're going to utilize his skill set the best that you can and get him acclimated to Brian Daboll's way of doing things. So obviously Dable knows how to get the best out of a quarterback. He's done this throughout his tenure since he's been in the NFL. And even when he was in his stint in Alabama, he really brought the best out in Tua Tagovailoa and Jalen Hurts in those stops. Yeah. So I'm interested to see how he's going to utilize his playmakers. He had Calvin Ridley while he was at Alabama, so that's another reason to potentially keep Calvin Ridley around. So I'm excited all in all. And I mean, the fan base has really just got a lot of energy and just a lot of enthusiasms just pumping throughout just Nashville. It's an exciting time to just watch everything just transpire. And the fun thing is all three coaches, Dable, Saleh, and Bradley, their first wins as head coaches were against Tennessee.
You were at the Senior Bowl, yeah?
Yeah, I was over at the Senior Bowl for a few days.
You have a good time there?
It was a great time. Had a great time with the boss and the crew. Really a lot of good underrated talent in the Senior Bowl this year. I don't think there's a lot of superstar talent, but there's guys that are going to be difference makers. And I mean, you just look at these guys that got the opportunity to showcase their talent even more so in front of NFL scouts and talent evaluators. I mean, there's going to be some gems in this draft, and I really think you're going to see some guys just pop up and just be like, wow, that guy's stock just jettisoned out of nowhere.
Well, you guys 5th pick overall? Am I right about that?
4th
pick. Okay, even better. All right. So, listen, way too early, but is there a guy or two that you got your eye on at 4 already, or what are you looking at?
I mean, right now, it's a lot of people are doing mock drafts, and they're kind of just, I think Reuben Bain and David Bailey are definitely the big ones to kind of pop out, especially with a team that just is in dire need of edge help. Wide receiver class, I know Cornell Tate definitely pops out. Lemon's another one. I mean, it really just kind of depends on how free agency shapes out for this team. I mean, we really don't know what they're going to do right now. Are they going to spend money on defense? Are they going to spend money on offense? It's really just kind of a wait and see moment right now. I think once the combine's wrapped up and they get a better idea of starting to get their draft board put together, especially after the free agency period, it's going to look a lot clearer. But I think the old adage is buy defense, draft offense.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and you got a head coach that's a defensive mind. So I got to imagine, I'm looking at guys like Dre Greenlaw, for instance, who's a free agent. I know that he's a solid guy. So I could see a situation where maybe he kind of comes in and helps usher in exactly what he wants to do. He's going to look for guys that can run his system and can lead this team, lead this young defense. So I'm excited for you guys, man. Listen, as rough as the season was, the offseason is your time to shine. You guys have the 4th pick overall. You got I think the most money in all of the NFL to spend, most cap space. So you guys are sitting real pretty. The offseason is all about the Titans here. So I'm really excited to see what you guys do in particular. So couple questions for you. We know that you guys have the most cap space in the NFL. Don't necessarily need to know the details there, but players that are on your own roster before you guys get ready for free agency, guys that maybe you want to re-sign, guys that you want to extend maybe to free up some cap space, restructure, cut, trade. What are you guys looking at roster-wise with your own guys that you may want to make some moves with or bring back?
I mean, starting out with some cut candidates, I mean, Calvin Ridley and L'Jarius Sneed are going to be names to get thrown around a little bit. And Sneed, I definitely think is going to be it's an absolute. It's going to happen regardless. Calvin Ridley, however, I don't know with the wide receiver situation. You'd like to have a guy that's got experience and can kind of keep these young guys just a little relieved trying to get out there, especially in year 2 and not have too much work. So I think basically you could sit on Ridley and just play out his contract, maybe restructure it and potentially get a little bit more money going into free agency. Sebastian Joseph Day is definitely a guy I would love to re-sign on a short year deal. He's a big piece of the defensive line. Definitely makes it a lot easier for Sweat and Simmons to just have a strong rotation, especially switching into a 4-3 cover 3 set. So, you definitely want experience on the defensive line going into 2026. And I think the biggest thing a lot of people are going to start discussing more about is extensions. And I think Jeffrey Simmons falls in line with that after having just a spectacular 2025 campaign. But I also think Peter Skoronski definitely needs to be in the conversation too. He's been a gap stop at guard, and you definitely need to make sure that he's going to be one of your key pieces going forward as this offensive line continues to grow and mesh together.
So I don't necessarily need to know players. If you have a player or two, then that's bonus. But just top 3 positions of need. Like what, as you guys enter in to pre-free agency draft, what are the 3 positions that you're looking at that's like, we absolutely got to find a way to get some players there for us?
Well, definitely first and foremost, edge rusher is going to be the biggest position of need. This defensive line needs some juice. Reuben Bain's definitely a big talking point. David Bailey's another one. You know, the kid from Auburn, I think, is another guy you could potentially bring into that conversation. But this Titans defense, especially with Robert Saleh taking over, he needs a strong defensive front, and it's going to be a massive importance to basically get the edge position set up, especially with Femi Odejo coming into a year 2 where he doesn't have a lot of experience. So he's going to need some help on the opposite side to get himself going. Position 2, it's really a mix-up, but I'll go with cornerback right now. And there's 2 corner spots the Titans need to fill with 2026 coming up. There's no answer right now. Maybe one of those positions gets answered in free agency. But regardless, I think you need to draft for starting position and potentially depth. And there's a lot of good corners in this draft. And really, you got a few guys you could plug and play. And then there's some guys that are going to be a developmental project. So it wouldn't bode for the Titans to be a bad situation to draft a guy to start and potentially draft another guy and just get him coached up and get him some opportunities maybe this year, maybe the next year, and just see how that goes going forward. And I would have to go with the final positions, definitely wide receiver. I like our young guys. I think they're going to have a good year 2, especially Alec Iamaner and Chim DK already coming off a Pro Bowl appearance. So you want to get a little pressure off those guys. I feel like Calvin Ridley's an option to keep, as I said. But, if the Titans feel strongly enough that a wide receiver in a first round can fit what they're trying to do and make life easier on Cam Ward, it's definitely a gamble to take.
Yeah, you guys you guys are going to be interesting to see. I'm curious to see what you guys go into the actual draft with. Obviously, as we approach free agency, we'll get a little bit more granular on guys that you're going to be looking at, and then we're going to do a post free agency show to see how happy you are with the guys that you got and how they fit and how that sets you guys up for the draft. But very excited about the Titans. I don't know even if you're not a Titan fan, if you didn't watch the press conference for Robert Saleh, I highly recommend it. He's certainly a guy that you could see wanting to play for. Those guys are going to get after it. I can tell you as a 49er fan, I think he's a hell of a leader of men, and I hope this second time around he is very, very successful as a head coach. I think he deserves it. I think he's a good dude, and I'm looking forward to it. And if nothing else, that rivalry with Cohen over there and Jacksonville is going to be a doozy for many years to come, I hope. So looking forward to it. Well, speaking of Jacksonville, Dalton with that slick new haircut. You guys don't have any coaching staff changes that I'm not thinking of, right? You guys are clean. You guys are bringing everybody back, or what did you guys have?
Yeah, man, we were able to keep everybody. I mean, defensive coordinator Anthony Campanelli got a few looks out there from most notably like the Dolphins. He also got one from the Ravens, and I think I'm missing one other spot. And the Arizona Cardinals. He was actually very much in play for the Arizona Cardinals job. But the Jaguars were luckily able to keep him, and he was a guy that really helped elevate this defense a lot for the Jaguars. And, of course, when you have a head coach that also calls plays, you really have to lean on having a really good defensive coordinator. So we're thrilled to have him back. So hopefully, I mean, look, if we only get 2 years out of him, that's good. That's good enough. I'm just happy that he's coming back for another year. So we have him back, and the Jaguars also have Grant Udinski coming back. And Udinski was in some play for some jobs. He interviewed with the Bills. He also interviewed with the Browns, and I think the Browns were actually highly interested in him. But it sounds like Jimmy Haslam, their owner, wanted to hire a guy that was going to keep around Jim Schwartz as a defensive coordinator. So they hired old man Todd Monken, and now Jim Schwartz is all angry. So, yeah, it's a mess over there for the Browns. So luckily they're able to keep both of them, and I imagine both of them will probably get a lot more looks next year, and this might be the last year as coordinators for the Jaguars, and keep the special teams guys. So a lot of continuity over here. Which is really good, obviously, for a team that went from 4-13 to 13-4, and had some of the players really elevate their play like the way they did. So, yeah, we're keeping these the same. We're running things back, and hopefully we have a good formula here next year.
Where do you guys stand from a cap space perspective? Are you guys having to cut some cap space, restructure guys? Are you guys feeling pretty solid about your cap situation heading into free agency?
I mean, it's certainly not great, but it's not terrible right now. There's a lot of guys that we're kind of eating some dead money on. They're still going to be paying Gabe Davis 2 years after they cut him. Also, they traded away Tyson Campbell, and they took a lot of dead cap hit there. So, when a new GM takes over from an old GM, they kind of shape the roster the way they are. Then they're not as afraid to take on dead cap hits, right? Because they're not the guys that are responsible for those contracts. So, and outside of that, you're paying a quarterback top money. You're paying an edge rusher and Josh Hines Allen top money. So, they have some other contracts out there. So, but I think right now they're like 21st or 23rd or somewhere around there in available cap space. So they're going to do some maneuvering. Luckily the Jaguars owner, Shad Khan, he's not afraid to spend money. So, if you have to, convert a lot of these contracts into signing bonuses, he has no problem doing that. If you need to add some void years to kind of stretch out that cap number, you have really no problem doing that. They're not going to be the Jaguars. I don't think going forward we're going to be a team that's going to be, if you look at the top 20 free agents in the NFL coming out, they're not going to be a team that's going to be trying to go after those guys. And I think that's a good spot because usually the teams that are going after those guys are the teams that usually fail. They usually overspend, and then they get a bunch of guys and they just don't perform. I think we all know you kind of build through the draft, and I think that's the way the Jaguars are going to do it. Build through the draft, keep, re-sign your own players, and that's kind of the way they're going to do it. So, yeah, not great, but it's not, I don't think it's really going to inhibit them from doing what they want to do this offseason.
Well, I know you guys don't have a first-round pick, so you might have to splurge a little bit on someone, depending on position and need and what have you. But before we get to that point in the offseason, we do got to talk about, you said there's some maneuvering that has to happen, and there's multiple different ways you can do that. You guys, obviously, you're going to have to re-sign your own guys. I'm sure you got some guys that are up for contract that you guys are going to have to extend. Maybe some of your own free agents that you're going to have to try to work out deals with, what have you, tender, restructure, all of that. So who on your roster are candidates for these types of things? Guys that you may want to cut or trade, restructure, extend? Like, what are you guys looking at?
Yeah, well, right now we're trying to figure out if we want to keep around some of our bigger players, and that's Devin Lloyd, who I think is like the 4th best rated free agent on PFF's free agent list. Yeah, he's a free agent now. So that one will be interesting. And this one is really hard for me because obviously he had a great year, but the first 3 years of his NFL career, he really struggled. So was this a situation of contract year? He performs really well, then you sign him, and then he's just not the same. And it's also the issue of him kind of being an off-ball linebacker, and it's kind of a devalued position sometimes in the NFL. But I think maybe bringing defense coordinator Anthony Campanelli back, maybe that helps him in a sense where it's like, okay, like we have the same defense coordinator, maybe that will help kind of propel things forward. But I kind of lean toward the Jaguars maybe letting him walk in the offseason just because, the Jaguars aren't necessarily flush with cash, and I just don't know if that's the direction that they want to go because, it's easy to look at free agents this offseason because the other guy is, I'll go ahead and talk about him, Travis Etienne. Running back, he had also another career year for the Jaguars in the contract year. Will they re-sign him? I'm not sure. A running back, another kind of devalued position there, and they also have a clear replacement with Bashal Tutin, and he can also draft a player there. So, with this, as fans, we want to look at 2026 free agents, right? You want to look at re-signing these guys, but if you're a GM, you're looking far ahead and you're looking at, hey, who are the 2027 free agents? And I look at it, Brenton Strange is a free agent. Parker Washington is a free agent. You have Anton Harrison could potentially play like on the 5th-year option as well. So you have some guys coming up next year that are kind of critical pieces to your operation. So I'm leaning, like I could very well see the Jaguars maybe not bringing either of these guys back. If there's any guy they bring back, I would probably think ETN just because – I think you want as much continuity in your offense as possible, especially when you have Trevor Lawrence playing at the level that he played at. I don't know how much you really want to disrupt that, but I don't know how much Travis Etienne is going to cost, and maybe you can get him on a 2-year deal or something like that. We'll see with that. You don't want to play on a franchise tag or anything just because that's straight off of the cap. So, with that, I would probably lean no toward a Devin Lloyd. I just think he's a great player, but I think when you have teams like the Titans and the Jets, these different teams out there, the Raiders just flush with cash, they're waiting to overpay a guy like that. While, the Jaguars have to be a little more strategic about throwing money out there if they want to have this long-term sustainable success. So, but the thing about that is I don't know who replaces Devin Lloyd. You don't have a Bashal Tootin backing up at Travis Etienne like you have a linebacker backing up Devin Lloyd. So we'll see on that. When it comes to different guys, like I said, I don't think the Jaguars are going to splurge a lot in free agency. I think if the Jaguars make any kind of a move, the GM is very bold. So I can see James Gladstone, if he makes any kind of big splash, I think maybe a trade. I think maybe he makes a big trade because really, really good free agents. I mean, really good players just don't hit free agency. I mean, you look at Jalen Ramsey, right? Jalen Ramsey's on his 4th NFL team. He's never hit free agency. He's always just being traded around. You also have guys like, Aaron Donald, who just stayed with the same team his whole entire career. So I think the Jaguars, if there's any real big position of need, it's interior defensive line. I don't know who's going to be available. I'm just throwing it out there. Maybe that's out there. So when it comes to that, I don't really know how to wrap up what I'm saying. I'm just kind of rambling right now. But yeah, that's just some quick thoughts from me.
Yeah, I got you. I mean, yeah, I forgot that Etienne is a free agent. That one's always tough because you're right. The running back position is one of those positions where it's like, it's kind of dime a dozen, but also if you have an elite one, you kind of want to keep him. And the way his career's gone, it's like you guys drafted him to be this elite guy. He was a teammate of Trevor Lawrence, and he's had some good, some bad, but this last year he was great. So, what do you do with that? I am curious to see. And when you got teams out there, to your point, that are willing to overspend for maybe a Lloyd or an ETN, then it might make it tough on you. One more player that I have a question about, Brian Thomas Jr. A lot of other fan bases are very interested to see what's going on with him. Obviously, you guys made a midseason trade to go out and get a wide receiver who you did re-sign. And so if that's the case, is BTJ, is he out there? Is he available, do you think? Or is he coming back for sure?
I mean, my bold prediction, one of them is that he gets traded. And Jaguar fans hate me for that. But here's the issue with Brian Thomas Jr. He was trying to be featured as a Jaguars #1 wide receiver to be in the year. It did not work out. It was just a complete failure. The Jaguars offense just was not moving. And then the Jaguars' top 3 receivers were Brian Thomas Jr., Travis Hunter, De'Ami Brown, right? The way the season ended, it was like Parker Washington, it was Jacoby Myers, and then probably tight end Britton Strange. Those are the 3 most reliable pass catchers. And, what is Brian Thomas Jr. now? I mean, at the end of the season, he was definitely an asset for the Jaguars. He was this perimeter guy that was going to get 3 to 5 receptions per game. He could stretch the field and take the top off the defense. He can also be a bit of a decoy. But at the same time, is that what he is going forward? Is he just this decoy guy that's going to get 3 to 5 receptions for the Jaguars? That's fine if that's what he is. But if that's what he is to the Jaguars, what if another team out there says, okay, dude, he's a wide receiver 1 on our team. He's going to get 8 receptions per game. He's a 1,400-yard receiver in our opinion. Then all of a sudden it's like, okay, this team values him a lot more than the Jaguars. And every player has a price, right? And nobody does not have a price. So, and we had to remember, there was this report randomly in October that the Jaguars were potentially looking to trade Brian Thomas Jr. They came out and said, oh, that's not true, but it came from somewhere. So I don't know if maybe they leaked that out there just to maybe get some teams calling or to stir up some interest. But I think if the Jaguars do make a big trade, like I said, to go after an interior defensive lineman, James Gladstone is a guy that he likes to trade player for player. They traded player for player several times. I mean, even cornerback Tyson Campbell for cornerback Greg Newsome, and they traded Luke Fortner for Colin Saunders. I mean, they've done a lot of straight up 1-for-1 trades, and I don't think there may be a 1-for-1 trade, but maybe, hey, we'll give you Brian Thomas Jr. and a 4th round pick for this player in a second. You know what I mean? Something like that. So is it going to happen? I don't know. I just feel like right now, Brian Thomas Jr. is maybe the 3rd or 4th most reliable pass catcher on the Jaguars. And there's teams out there with young quarterbacks cough, cough, the Tennessee Titans that, hey, they want to find some good young targets for their quarterbacks because that is their franchise. That is their investment. I mean, if, we've seen teams like, if the quarterback doesn't work out, they have to move on, and then they have to go through this whole, reuse, recycle program. Shout out to the New York Jets right now. But yeah, like they want to do everything they can to make sure their quarterback's in a successful position, so they don't see that quarterback succeed somewhere else. So something to think about. I mean, even look at the Raiders. They might want a young guy for Mendoza. I don't know. And I'm not saying the Jaguars, I'm not sitting here banging the table, we need to trade him, but I don't know. We have a good young GM that's not going to sit on his hands, and he's going to see everything for what it is. I could very much see Brian Thomas Jr. potentially not being on the team next year.
Interesting. Okay, I've half expected you to be like, no, those are just rumors. Okay, all right. There's a chance. There's a chance he could get traded.
I'll shoot down y'all's Trevor Lawrence trade shit, but I'm not going to shoot this one down. Okay.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about Trevor Lawrence.
We've redacted that New York Jets trade. Okay, it's out of here. We're not getting a number 2 pick for him anymore.
There's no quarterback to draft at number 2. That'd be asinine. Absolutely crazy. All right. Well, good. Trevor Lawrence will be a Jaguar. You heard it directly from Dalton's mouth. So rest assured, Jags fans, he's safe. All right. Well, before we get to our 5th member of the panel, today's 4th member of the panel, we do have to hear from one of our sponsors. That is Sleeper, and I've got some Super Bowl picks for you. First of all, I put 10 down to win 135. It's the last one of the year, so I figured I'd go big or go home. I got Mac Hollins on the more for 28.5 receiving yards. I got Stevenson on sale here, 39.5 rushing yards. This one's pretty easy. We're going more there. I got Kenneth Walker on the anytime TD. I got Rashid Shaheed on more than 1.5 receptions. And I got JSN on more than 94.5 receiving yards. You can tail us or you can fade us, but use promo code RTS to get your 100% deposit match and your free $20 play. Link is pinned to the top of the description. Well, I strategically had you go next because I knew the big Jags fan was waiting backstage. And I wanted to hear his thoughts on your offseason plan and see what he's up to. So, big Jags fan, what's up, brother? How are you?
Doing good. I didn't know there was a show today. I thought last week was the last one.
I didn't know there was a show today either, big Jags fan. That makes 2 of us, but here we are.
That's right. And I can't agree more with Dalton. I do think Devin Lloyd, we let him walk, because I do believe Ventrell Miller will come in and play a big role. When he was drafted to be an elite linebacker. And if I'm not mistaken, he got hurt his rookie year. Is that right, Dalton?
Yeah, he tore his Achilles his rookie year.
Yeah, he was brought in to be an elite linebacker. And when he comes in and plays, he does have a voice. If you watch like the sounds of the game, you hear him yelling a lot and hyping the team up. So Lloyd's probably going to walk, and Miller might come in to fill that role. And then I do believe ETN does get re-signed.
You do? Yeah. You think he gets re-signed? Okay.
Yeah, if you watch some of the press conferences when we got Cohen and the GM, the owner was speaking on that ETN is going to be a big part of the future with this team. So I do believe he has a big say in it, and I think he'll be back.
Okay. All right. You think they should make him a priority? Should they give him big time top of the market money, or
no? I'm with Dalton on that too. I think we give him 2 years, maybe $22 million, $11 million a year, and I think he takes that. And then we get Tootin a couple years under his belt, and he'll become the primary.
Okay, I like it. That's a good plan. Is there? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I do have a question for our resident Titans fan though.
All right.
Shoot your shot, big Jags fan.
Why are the Titans collecting failed head coaches?
To kick your ass and make it look even more glorious when they succeed.
That's right. I was just giving you a hard time. And is my jersey on the way now?
I got my guy looking, my man. Trust me, when I know, you'll know.
That's right. We got all off season. And I got a question for Ruben too. You ready, Ruben?
What's up?
It's not that bad. Is Joe Mixon going to be back next year for y'all at running back?
No. We're gonna cut him and save $10 million.
Oh.
Y'all guys could make a big splash and trade your first round pick to the Colts and get Jonathan Taylor.
That would be exciting, but nah. I want to use my first round pick this year.
That's right.
Yeah, you do.
Yo, Big
You
Jags
want
fan.
Brees Hall. You want Brees Hall.
That's exactly who I want.
Right, I forgot about him. Yeah, he'll be
Big Jags fan. If Derek was here right now, what would you ask him?
I wouldn't mind taking Trevor from the Jags either.
Oh,
No, it's fine.
If Derek was here, you know what I would ask him? Because why did they keep their GM and their coach? Do they like winning 7 to 8 games? It's like, are they have a fetish with that or something?
A big one.
Like it doesn't. We talked about this in the beginning of the season. It makes zero sense. Why do they keep winning 7 to 8 games and then they do it again, like we told Derek they would, and then they just re-sign all their coaches and GMs and bring them back? Let's do it again, guys.
Well, we know Chris Ballard is a championship level GM, so
The best.
Clearly.
Maybe the new owners need to get in there. His daughters probably get their feet under him. Maybe that's why, and then they want to start fresh. After next year, I don't know, but it's crazy to me.
I think he deserves another shot.
Yeah, I do too. We like beating them.
I think he deserves an extension.
Yeah,
We
let's give him
swept
a
them the past
long-term
couple
deal.
years. No, they just brought him back for his final year of the contract, but it just don't make any sense. And Jesse, what about your team? What are they going to do to fill in them roles that they lost to the Titans? Gus Bradley and Solid.
Well, we hired Raheem Morris, which is an interesting one. He's definitely not a 4-3 wide 9 guy, and he blitzes a lot more than what Kyle's normally used to. So I don't know. I'm curious to see how it plays out. I'm optimistic about it. I like Raheem Morris, but he definitely doesn't fit what the 49ers have traditionally gone after. So I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. It's interesting because a lot of people just assume like, hey, if a guy is a good edge rusher, he can play 4-3 or 3-4. And Nick Bosa has said many times throughout his career he wants to play with his hand in the dirt. Well, if they run a 3-4, that's not going to be the case necessarily. So I'm curious to see what happens here.
No, yeah, I like Raheem Morris too. I think of all the coaches, they should have kept him. He finished 8-9 like his whole division.
I thought he was fine. I thought
he was fine too. But y'all got him. I think that's a great pickup. That'll be a good coordinator for y'all.
I think so too.
He's just keeping the seat warm from they welcome Robert Saleh back in 2028.
Yeah, he was with the Jaguars, I believe. We had a great defense under him.
Oh, you know it.
Yeah, they were good. That was 2017, right?
Something like that. I don't know. He was here at one point.
He was there in 2017 when we had Jacksonville, and then we fired him 2 years after that. Yeah, he was good. You got a good one.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. All right, big Jags fan. It was good hearing from you. We'll talk to you soon, brother.
Are we coming back next week?
I don't know. Listen,
we'll be here. We'll be here.
Hey, you know
your
what?
schedule.
Yeah, you say that, but here we go. This is I'm just saying, I'm just here so I don't get fined. That's really what it comes down to. I just don't want to get fined. So, anyways,
that's right.
We'll see. We'll see if we're back next week.
All right, I'll be looking out for y'all.
All right, bro. Later. All right, man. Let me. You haven't got him that jersey yet, Mike? Come on, man. Just over here slipping. What's going on, man?
Hey, I'm trying to hook him up properly, so I got my guy on lookout. I'm not going to send him like one of those eBay jerseys. Won't do it.
It's still getting shipped over from China. It's still getting shipped over from China.
He's going to have to stitch it himself. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah. It comes in a pre-made package. He's got to sew the numbers on. That's good.
The nameplate's going to be suck a dick.
Oh my gosh. All right. Listen, RotoWire, the ultimate fantasy football tool. Also, your way to go if you are a degenerate just like us. You like to play your daily fantasy sports. You can use promo code RTS, get your 15% off. You can go over to Picks and Props. You can go over to Daily Fantasy Sports Pick'em. You can go over to Sleeper. Should be using Sleeper. That's another sponsor of ours. And you can get your more or lesses. Now, obviously, we're in basketball season, so you're not going to have a lot of football picks here, although you will have your Super Bowl picks as well, but you've got your confidence meter, and I will tell you, definitely won some money using these guys, so check them out. RotoWire, links in the description, promo code RTS. All right, Ruben, we got to hear from you, brother. We'll close out with Super Chats. So if you guys are Super Chatting, we appreciate you. We'll get to those at the very end. But let's talk about those Houston Texans. Now, I know throughout the course of the season, there was a lot of conversations about you guys getting ready your offensive coordinator. Although, I think things turned around for the most part. The offense wasn't electric, but I think a lot of the blame started going from the offensive coordinator to the quarterback who has a fresh haircut. So your guys' staff stays intact. Am I right about that?
Yeah, mainly intact. Just a few, minor changes like assistant offensive line coach and things like that. But they're all promotions within the organization, so not really a lot of like names worthy to note. But yeah, the blame not the blame, but everyone knows that the offense was to blame. 60% of it's on CJ Stroud. 20% of it fans are given to Nick Caley, and then just a lot of the others just construction of the team. So we have an off season to do it, and I'm excited to do it.
Miko deserves some blame, bro. He's the head coach. He's running shit.
Yeah, so there's a nickname for D'Amico. His name is Demeek No O. So that's his nickname going on right now.
Nice. Demeek No O. I like it. All right. Well, 60% on CJ Stroud, 60% of the time it works every time. We know that. Sex Panther. Shout out to those of you that know that reference. All right, listen. Where does your team stand from a salary cap perspective? This is you guys are in that unique window here where you've got CJ Stroud coming up, you got Anderson coming up. You got to decide if you want to, put these guys under contract, but you've also still got CJ Stroud on that rookie contract. And if you guys believe in CJ Stroud, then you want to surround him with as much talent as possible. So that salary cap's still there for play. But what are you guys looking at salary cap wise right now?
Yeah, so when I say this, it's going to sound bad, but right now the Houston Texans are in negative $4 million cap space. But with the restructures and extensions, it's predicted to be around 73, maybe even more $1 million come off season. And, one of the main cuts is going to be Joe Mixon, saving around $10 million from him. He is not going to play for you this year. He is no longer going to be a Houston Texan. You're going to have to extend Will Anderson Jr. You're going to have to make him one of the highest paid defensive ends in the NFL, if not the highest paid. He definitely deserves that contract. But you're not making a move yet on CJ Stroud. If they do, I think it'll be a contract similar to like Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold. I don't think CJ Stroud has any leverage to be one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL. But after restructures, cuts, and all that, around 70-something million dollars to mess around with. This is your last opportunity to build around CJ Stroud before you have to make a decision on him.
Interesting. So do you think they got to pick up the fifth-year option, though?
They got to pick up the fifth-year option. They do.
Okay. All right. So you said that you can get up to around 70-something million.
That's what's being projected right now.
Projected. Okay.
Yes.
So who are some of the players that you think you guys are looking to cut, restructure? I know you said Mixon, but any other big names that we should be looking out for?
Yeah. Jimmy Ward, your safety, who you didn't see at all this year. You make a decision on him, letting him go saves you a couple $1 million, or a few $1 million actually. And what they restructure to someone like a Titus Howard, who keeps on doing these restructures for you, he is becoming a captain for you pretty soon. You're going to be able to get there. Also, I just mentioned the Will Anderson Jr. extension as well. So there is going to be moves, and General Manager Nick Caserio has, been able to manage the cap the last few off seasons and has made big moves in his time. So we've heard the cap is a myth, but the Houston Texans can find themselves maybe getting 1 to 2 free agents in this period. But you have needs. You know what they are. You just got to work on them.
All right. Well, you know what those needs are, but you got to tell us, what are the top 3 needs of the Houston Texans in your opinion?
So I will say the top 3 needs. One of them is the interior of the offensive line, whether that's center or guard. And at center, when you look at the free agency market, Tyler Linderbaum is someone who you want here in Houston. However, I think the Texans are going to work on their offensive line by adding height, adding muscle. But with Tyler Linderbaum, he's one of the best centers in the NFL. Rewrite your wrong by you passed on him in the draft, taking Kenyon Green out of A&M. Tyler Linderbaum goes out to be one of the best centers in the NFL. If not him, it is already being reported that the Texans will be interested in center Cade Mays from the Carolina Panthers, which is crazy to hear that we are already interested in him when free agency is a ways away. I feel like that can be a great addition, a cheap addition to the Houston Texans. You want to bring back Ed Ingram also, who you got from Minnesota, and what he did was just revamp his career. Now, it wasn't it wasn't all pro level, but it was a serviceable right guard. And those two moves that you can make, center and guard, in free agency, in the draft, Emmanuel Pregnon out of Oregon is someone that a lot of Houston Texans fans are mock drafting. Keelan Rutledge out of Georgia Tech is another player who Houston Texan fans are falling in love with. So that's one need, the interior of the offensive line. On the defensive side, it's defensive tackle. You don't have any youth there. You have good players, but you don't have youth. One player that I am looking at is in the NFL draft is Lee Hunter out of Texas Tech. He had a fantastic Senior Bowl, was dominating the one-on-ones. He will be there for you at pick 28. And with Lee Hunter, you have all the patience in the world with him. You have Will Anderson Jr., Daniil Hunter on opposite sides. Just let him work, and this defense gets even better than what it was last year. My third one would be running back, and this is where it gets interesting because the Texans try to draft Breece Hall. They tried to trade for Breece Hall at the trade deadline this year. He wants to be a Houston Texan. The Iowa alma mater is there with Higgins, Noah, and Hutchinson. Yep. You go out there, get Breece Hall, and you get C.J. Stroud a run game, which is something that he hasn't had in 2 out of his 3 years. Breece Hall can make people miss. He's coming off of a 1,000-yard season with the New York Jets. That would be great. Kenneth Walker is also someone that Houston Texan fans are talking about, but I don't think scheme-wise he fits the Houston Texan offense, and he's definitely going to get some money in the offseason. If it's draft-wise, someone like Katron Allen out of Penn State, Mike Washington Jr. out of Arkansas, or maybe Jadarian Price out of Notre Dame. So the Houston Texans also have 4 picks in the top 70, which is going to be fun to work with. So they're going to beef up their offensive line. They're going to get themselves an RB. I haven't seen a lot of Texans fans talk about is it Trevor Etienne or Travis Etienne? Oh, yeah. I think he is a fantastic fit for Jacksonville. I think they give him the bag. I haven't seen a lot of Houston Texan fans have him as they want, but wouldn't mind taking him from the Jags, But other than that,
I want to re-sign him for the sole purpose of him not going to the Texans. You've sold me on Travis Etienne. No.
He's a baller. He's like, for him to kind of not revive his career, but like you get an offensive-minded coach, someone who knows what he's doing. He has a fantastic year. Was he a top 5 rusher? But other than that, the Houston Texans, it's offensive line and running back. That's it. You could flirt with the tight end. You do have Dalton Schultz for 1 more year. Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end out of Oregon, is getting a lot of love. It is a dream here for someone like a Kyle Pitts to be catching passes from C.J. Stroud. But other than that, those are the needs for Houston right now.
One player you talked about earlier, and I have to know, Tank Dell. Is he going to come back this next year? What are the conversations around him?
So yes and no. I do think he will be there for training camp. It's just a matter of what is Tank Dell now? And he's had 2 back-to-back season-ending years, and the one he had against Kansas City, I mean, he damn near lost his whole leg. Everything tore. So it's like, even if he comes back, once he steps on the field, that's a miracle in itself. But he's your wide receiver 4, maybe 5. He doesn't play special teams entering next year. So whatever you get out of Tank Dell is going to be a blessing.
Okay. All right. Curious to see what it looks like with the Houston Texans. All right. Well, listen, we didn't have a representative of the Colts, but fear not. Ryan over here has this covered. He says, as a Colts fan, I'll try to sum up our offseason. We have under $35 million in cap. We have to re-sign Daniel Jones, Pierce, and maybe Nick Cross. Pittman and Zaire Franklin are our cut candidates to free up cap space. So you
rough.
said
you have
it.
to sign a quarterback to a bunch of money that has a torn Achilles. That's tough.
That's not ideal. And he said also for the Colts, free agents targets, in my opinion, Devin Lloyd, Adafe Owe, and Kyle Van Noy. Well, there we go. He summed up. He just did Derek's job for him. We appreciate it. Biggs 904 says, did Derek retire? What up, UCF, AFC South champs?
Hey, you know it. Yeah, Derek, I think he is afraid to sing the song. I think that's what it is.
All right.
He does owe us that. I forgot all about that.
He owes us that. He owes us. We have to open up next year's show with like he needs to have like an edited. I need a background. I need the spotlight. I need him to like to buy a ring light,
dancers, the whole thing.
Because I know the man doesn't have a ring light. He needs to buy one of those. He needs to get an upgrade. We need everything for a full production where we open up the 2026 AFC South Roundtable with the Colts anthem. No better way.
Oh, God. Wow. Biggs 904 says, sign Parker Washington, show him the money. I know you can do better than that.
Oh, that's going to be a tough decision.
Yeah, that is going to be a tough decision.
Well, I mean, he's not free until next year.
Oh, is he not? Okay, but
yeah,
he might want to.
He's eligible this year because he was like a 6th-round pick. But yeah, it's
Is he the holdout kind of guy?
Nah, no, he won't hold out. But it'd be nice. I mean, get him. I mean, if he's in your long term, get him locked down sooner the better, right?
Agreed.
Tighten Up says, hey, Mike, with the new hires the Titans have added, should the Titans Nation have renewed faith in our ownership and front office overall? Good question.
I mean, with Mike Borgonzi, my faith never wavered for him for a minute. You know, a good solid first year. Looking forward to see what he'll do in year 2. Thing is, just remember, on paper, it's sexy right now. It's fun to talk about. It's all about putting it out on the field and see what we get from it. So enjoy it. Enjoy the offseason. The fun thing about after the Super Bowl, we're all undefeated after it.
Very true. AGK says, Michael looking fresh with the chain. I love it. We got haircuts. We got chains. We were only off for a week, guys. You'd think it would have been months. And Eric says, Derek is 100% watching the show right now. Sing it, Derek. Sing it. Well, listen, I don't know when we're going to be back. I imagine within the next couple of weeks. Hell, it might be next week. I don't know, fellas. So I'm not going to make any predictions on that. But what I will say is it was so nice to do a show with y'all. I hope you guys have a blessed evening. Everybody in the chat for contributing. We appreciate you. Until next time, much love. Peace.
Go Seahawks.
Go Bad Buddy.